morning, good afternoon, or good evening to those who are watching us today. After a couple of months break that was dedicated for contemplation and replanning, we are back to the game, and I'm happy to present you another Inspirational Conversations episode. If you're watching us for the first time, then you should know that this podcast was born from the wish to inspire people in many possible ways and to empower them in their journey to become more balanced persons. Today, when we're recording this video, cruel things are happening in Ukraine. Many other cruel situations are happening all over the world daily as well. And this shows that humanity is really out of balance and in many cases out of its mind. People all over the globe are suffering from anxieties, worries, depression, grief. And I hope that this episode can bring at least a tiny help to those who want to learn to stay calm in this chaotic world. One of the ways actually to stay sane and calm is meditation. I'm happy to see more and more people willing to learn and start meditation in daily life. People realize the strong effect of it on their mental and physical health. And everyone speaks about different types of meditations and different ways to meditate. But at the end, you are the one who have to choose what suits you the best. In the past episodes, the guests of Inspirational Conversations podcast were mentioning different types of meditations, but we never spoke about the vocal toning meditations. To speak about that and other voice and harmony related angles, I invited Alicia Koppensteiner today, who is based in Vienna and teaching people since 2008. She works with specific methods from body, breath, and voice work to open and free person's very own sound and bring about deep personal transformation. As she says, freeing your own voice means activating your very own potential. I'm happy you are here, Alicia.
Thank you, Yogile, for inviting me, and hello, everybody.
So tell us what inspired you to become a sound voice facilitator and what led you to this profession?
Okay, so there is a thread that started more than 25 years ago now, and that I've been following, like following my passion or following a call somehow, without making it sound too, I don't know, big or something, but without really knowing where it would lead or where it would click in a way. And so what really sparked the interest in the voice was a book that I came across as a young biology student. So I think I was in the second semester, maybe beginning of third, I don't remember exactly. So in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. And I found this book. I was interested in, I started to study biology because I was interested in bringing harmony to the world. And I studied ecology. I specialized in ecology. And so I was interested in chaos theory, and through that I became interested in fluid dynamics. And through that I found this book by Theodor Schwenk, which is called The Sensible Chaos, The Sensitive Chaos. Mm-hmm. And it was really very inspiring to me. And in this whole book, he develops his view of how our bodies, our organs, our bones, everything is actually coagulated fluidity. So there is a flux going on, which then coagulates into bodies, for example, or into other matter. And at the end of this book, he comes to the conclusion that from this viewpoint of how the flow dynamics form certain organs and form tissues and so on, the larynx is the most complex organ, and it is able to bring out complex sound forms. So he then goes on to conclude that human beings, somehow there is a connection arise from sound as well. Of course, he also, that's not the main point in his book, but he also weaves that in, like that the fluid dynamics are also connected to sound. Yeah. So we arise from sound, and then through that complex organ of the larynx, we are able to also put out complex forms of sound that, again, through their reverberation, can create. And so I was fascinated by that, and I immediately thought, I need to get my larynx educated. I want to learn about this. And I had no idea, there was no intention of, not this idea I want to be on stage or something like that. It was purely this thing, I want to learn this capacity to its fullest. And so I had musical lessons since early childhood, learned, flute and piano and guitar in elementary school, and later also went to a musical gymnasium. So, but
you also learned singing.
Yes, I did singing, but I never had proper singing lessons. So I found a teacher, I went to classical choir repetition, and it was great and it was very interesting. And then after some time, I started to feel that there was some kind of invisible limitation in this approach. And then at that time, I had actually started to sing in a band, because one thing led to another. And through a band colleague, member, I found then my singing teacher that I would call my voice guru, Dolly Mullane. And through her, I learned this approach of freeing the natural voice, or, going beyond also too much of the aesthetics, which does not mean that aesthetics are not very, very important, because they're healing as well. But they can be also, they can also become oppressive in a way, and prevent us from unfolding. Anyway, so through that, then the whole time I was continuing my studies in biology, and actually also in that time I cannot really remember how it happened, because I tried to remember since a few months to remember. I got my first set of tuning forks also, and I remember talking on the phone to the person that I ordered it from in Germany. So it was but I don't know how I got the dépliant or something. Maybe it was in a book that I bought about sound. That could be possible. Anyway, I got my first tuning forks, and then also in 2002, this was a little bit later, there was the Kalachakra initiation with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and I know you also have a strong connection, in Graz in Austria, and there I got myself a singing bowl. First one, which I still have and which I still love strongly. But this kind of objects, it just, floated around in my life. And then I started to dance more, and through that, I ended up in an acting group. And then after completing my biology studies, I actually went on to study acting, physical acting, clowning. And through that also learned different approaches still to the voice, more for speaking voice and so on. So I learned a lot in Vienna, in Austria. I went to Paris, and then in 2008, I started mainly to teach improv, acting improv, physical theater improv, but also always with a strong focus on voice. And already in the theater workshops, I worked a lot with sound and voice and sounding, and then just the voice part became more and more stronger, and I wanted also to like do it more separate and by itself without the acting and without the acting mainly. And so it developed, and I learned more and more along the way, and so that's how it developed. But I really have to say, like, this spark was this book, even though I wouldn't say I'm, an adept of the ideas of that book, but I probably would formulate it different from how he formulated it. And maybe Theodor Schwenk would say, no, it's not like that. It's, it's different, in a way, like how his ideas were. But still, it was really like the spark for me to go into voice.
But I also realized that books are playing very big role in our lives to make some decisions in starting new profession or getting very inspired, because it's always, at least also for me, it's the same word. You got some book in the hands, you read, and you immediately understood, I want to go that way. Really strong influence.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is about the sound that it makes it so relaxing and healing?
Okay, so we can go about this in a few different ways. I think one of the aspects is that that sound is the origin of matter. So when we connect to sound, we really connect to a very original plane, and so that's one aspect. Another aspect is that sound has a vibration that we can feel. We not only hear it, but we can feel it. And so this vibration that we can feel, it really goes through our whole body, and it can be like a massage a little bit. It can open and to a very subtle degree can open and change. And so we also call this the vibroacoustic effect of sound.
Okay.
So that can be very relaxing. But then there is also a second main pathway of sound, which is called the psychoacoustic pathway. That's when we hear and the hearing changes us. And we all know that, and we all use that all the time. We choose a music for cleaning, we choose another music for relaxing, we choose a music for driving. So we actually use these effects in our life. Most of us use it quite consciously. After a certain situation, maybe we like to put the earplugs in and hear like a strong rock piece, like to kind of get it out or get our energy back, for example. So in this sense also, there is not like the sound that is healing, in my opinion. It like all sounds can be healing, absolutely. It just depends. And of course, it also depends on what we like and what we want to resonate with. Yeah.
So it's also actually, in general, it can affect how we feel as well.
Oh, absolutely, totally. I mean, maybe somebody listening also has this experience. Like sometimes we feel like there's something stuck. We would need to, kind of let go and cry, but it's not easy. And then when we put that music piece on, like within 30 minutes, it's just flowing and it's healing, even that can be so healing, to put on some music and just to cry and reconnect to ourselves through that. So I think that's also one of the main reasons why sound is so healing, or has such a direct healing power, because it reconnects us to ourselves. It really goes through the layers very directly. It can break it sounds dramatic, but kind of penetrate through all our armoring that is not bad. There is nothing bad about this armoring. Maybe we need it, or we needed it, and yeah, sound can go through it and free us also from our own restrictions and constrictions.
Is it possible that sound could also harm us?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, we all know sound drives us crazy. Um, there is something that we can do about it, of course. Like when sound drives us crazy, one thing that we can try to do is to eliminate that sound source, to take it serious, to not just say, okay, there is this sound which is, but to take it serious and to say, okay, I need to change my sound environment. But sometimes it's not possible, or if there is a construction site outside or things like that, there might be slightly something we can do about it, but not much. And then what we can do is we can switch to really feeling the sound in our body more, and stop, trying to stop to focus too much on the listening and on the what drives us crazy, going into the body and feeling it as pure vibration. And that sometimes can really help to be with such a sound, for example, from a construction site or some other sounds that might be bothering us.
Yes, or you can just also think you also can turn it to this type of the like listening meditation, when you just try to
Yes.
hear all of the sounds around and just accept them the way they are.
Yes.
No.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. The listening meditation can be very spacious because the ears open up a lot of space, and often much more space than the eyes,
Exactly.
especially when we're inside a room. So we can listen to all that space and therefore also feel more space, and that can be very, very beneficial, because many times when we feel claustrophobic, we need that space to breathe and to just to feel more spacious, and listening meditation can really help with that, enhance that feeling of I have space, there is space.
And why is vocal sound considered a way of healing? And how exactly is it used?
So I I think there are probably almost infinite ways, in a way, to use vocal sound, or maybe as many ways as there are beings, making vocal sound. So one aspect, I would say, from the perspective of opening the voice, is that by opening our full sound, because our voice, it's not like one sound, like one single sound. There is like a fundamental sound, and then there is a whole tapestry of harmonics, of other sounds that come with the fundamental sound. Actually, almost all sounds are always like that, and our voice as well. So we can imagine, if we had a string of a guitar or a violin or something that is just, in space, and we pluck it, then we hear something, but there's not so much that we hear. And what really makes that full sound of an instrument is the corpus of the instrument, the body of the instrument. And also it's the same with our body. So our voice is very much connected to our whole body, and to the freedom of resonance in our body. And so opening our voice means also opening all that resonance in our body, and that in itself is a big healing process, because many times we have patterns, we have developed patterns that close our voice in, and these are patterns that are in our whole body. And when we open these patterns, this in itself, it's a big healing process. Of course, we can also encounter deep wounds in that process, and heal these deep wounds in the process. So that's one aspect that why vocal sound can be so healing, because it just brings us back to the fullness of our being and to the full expression of our being, which is, you know, especially in the vocal thing, we can get very caught up in pictures of performance. You know, so full expression, we can immediately get the picture of performance. It means like, oh, we are performing better or something like that. But if we just think of a flower that is just, you know, like flowering fully, we can maybe connect more to an idea of full expression, or, you know, full unfolding of our potential that is not performance oriented and not even goal oriented in the sense of, you know, making it to some degree, whatever the making it is for us or in the society that we live in. So yeah, so just to mention that it's not about performance. And then, of course, vocal sound has been used probably since humans started making vocal sound to heal. You know, like the Neolithic shamans already used that as a tool to harmonize. To harmonize inside, to harmonize outside, to harmonize the connection between inside and outside, harmonize the elements, the connection with the elements. And so it's a very primordial tool of healing. And of course, we can see it also as something that is very very specific, and we can develop and we can learn. But at the same time, I would really also like to stress that it's something that is also very intuitively accessible, and that we all have that. We all have a voice, and we all have our intrinsic harmony and our intrinsic sound, and we can all start from there. And we can also be guided by our intrinsic sound and voice to deepen when we are interested. And then, of course, when we dedicate for years and years, then we deepen, and when we gather more knowledge, and we can learn from different teachers and so on. But I really want to stress that what I also like so much about the voice is that it's not about needing so much education, you know, such and such years and so many certificates or whatever, in order to just start to use your own voice to liberate your own being.
Very interesting what you mentioned, because you were saying that first, that is not to treat it as a performance itself in the beginning. Me personally, for many years, I've been also doing singing. Like you also in the past, you were doing singing in a band. So also have like different projects, and maybe in the past this was more as a performance. Lately, I started actually in these projects using my voice more intuitively, as you say, more just playing with the voices, playing with like some tones, and actually through the feeling through myself. And it's more like improvisation. What I also felt like I'm charging myself. I'm also kind of my own meditation, but I'm also kind of trying to transmit this energy to another people. So it has a different click. And what I got surprised me actually lately, not long time ago, maybe, well, I tried vocal meditation, vocal mantras for a while, was with the Dzongchen as well. Teaching what is for me was also like a singer was another experience, because I had to learn specific notes with the specific words, and there was a different meanings. And that time I already also found it was actually not that easy as I thought. And not long time ago, I was doing also chanting mantras with Sadhguru. He was doing teaching online, and was teaching followed by the long chanting of the one mantra, and I haven't done this, or maybe probably never, or maybe just a couple of times, this long time of the chanting. And for me as a singer, this was not easy, and this was, I was realized that I felt like a new child, like student learning thing, like from the beginning on, from completely zero. Also training my voice to have specific way of singing, specific way of tones, words, because it's also is the Indian way of singing. It has completely different way than I used to learn, And first of all, yes, that was very hard. On the another side, I discovered the power of it. How powerful this thing is, because as you mentioned, that you really unleash some inner strength, like many possibilities, many capacities. And I felt this myself after, I don't know, after 10 minutes of chanting the same mantra. I was, let's say, in a big euphoria in this moment, and I really found this magic, and this for sure was not about performance.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's another very important point that you're mentioning here, that you're touching here, is also with mantras. I'm only familiar with mantras from Eastern, what we call the Eastern part of the world, Asia. But I'm sure they exist in all cultures in a way.
Exactly.
In that sense that it is something also that goes on through time. So when we do a mantra that has been sung or chanted or recited for maybe thousands of years, then we also connect to that field of millions of people who have chanted and who have also realized something through that. So that's also, there we also connect to something that is really outside of ourselves. And that's also the strength of mantra practice. And another point that you brought in here is, of course, intention. So that's also a very, very important part of any sound healing, really, but also especially of sound healing with the voice, is that, that there happens a synergy between our consciousness, the conscious intent, and the sound. So I don't even want to say it doubles the effect or something like that. There's just there's something more happening than simply singing, and I think many sound healers feel exactly the same, that this, in the performance world of music, many times this aspect got, or is at least very much in the background. It's more about aesthetics, it's more about certain other things, and exactly what you were saying, this communicating actually something, communicating a state in the performance or in the making of the sound of the music. It has went more and more to the background. I mean, it's also not true, because there are states that are very much like a state of euphoria or a state of, feeling cool or so on. But I'm more talking about, like a state that is beyond this volatile experiences. Nothing against this volatile experience. I love to put some music on to put me in a certain state. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, it's just about the different time and the different need. Exactly. And how the vocal toning meditation can be a part of this healing.
What we can do is things that we've touched upon. So we can do mantras. We can do simple vowel sounds also, like the vowels of the Sanskrit alphabet, for example, are very strong mantras by itself, just one vowel. We can apply intuitive toning.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's something we can get better at, or we not even better at, we can get more confident with our intuition, with experience, but we can all do it. Everybody can start with intuitive toning. And then we can add, of course, intention. Yeah, so you could even try a little something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
Shall
do
we
it.
try
Let's
right
do
now?
it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So everybody join us, please. I invite you to close your eyes. And if closing your eyes raises some, nervousness, then just let the eyelids sink, and keep your eyes a little bit open and go inside with your awareness. Feel the body. Let yourself sink into the body, maybe 1 or 2 deeper exhalations. And then come with your awareness to your heart area. Feel your breath in the heart area. And connect to your heart area. And just listen. And just let a sound come. Just how it's being called. And I will not make a sound too, because everybody has their very individual sound. So just let the gentle sound flow out, in and out of your heart area. Loudness is not important. Volume is not important. It can be very gentle. Could be even a hum. And then just come back to silence and rest in that silence. Okay.
Wow.
How was that? Did you sound?
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
I didn't expect it's going to be that high note.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because normally somehow I was thinking that I'm more like the lower tone, I think, person. Every time when they're chanting Om, and so I always have like a very deeper. I didn't know that heart is sounding so high note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could even speak about our specific heart note. Yeah.
Is there a meaning?
Well, I personally have I feel like it changes. The sound of the heart changes.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like, how could it not? like everything changes
Exactly.
with the seasons of the year, with the moon, with in a day. Of course it changes, but there are also some schools that say no, it doesn't change. You always have that one note. And as many times, I think both probably both have some truth, or yeah, but I would say it changes. And so connecting to the heart note of the moment can be a very strong moment of connection to, yes, exactly, how I mentioned before. It's kind of, it's going more to the, besides all the things that we think or that might be there, it really can just touch the core beyond words, beyond explanation, beyond needing even words or explanation. It just touches the core.
So is this also then can work this type of meditation for different parts of the body related with the
Yes.
different chakras, I guess, as well, no?
Yes, of course. So here we can have different systems. I like very much a system that I've learned through Jonathan Goldman with vowel sounds, where you use specific sounds, but you search for them inside of you, in a sense of that you really feel when you're connecting to that area, to the root, for example, or to the navel, you really feel that resonant connection. So you can really, if people want to try it, and maybe also after by themselves, you can just start by experimenting, like this. You go down, for example, with your voice. And you search for the place where you really feel, oh, that's the sound of my root right now.
Wow.
And then we can go higher and find the sound of our navel, of the solar plexus, heart, throat, of course, and the third eye, and then the seventh chakra at the crown. So we can work with the 7 chakra system, which is derived mainly from Indian systems. But also there are systems where we can use specific mantras, also mainly used from the Indian system. They are called bija mantras. Bija means seed, so they're like seed mantras. They can be seed mantras for the chakras, or it can also be the seed mantras of the elements that can be used in combination with the chakras. So where, for example, we use the bija mantra for the element earth, for the root chakra. And yeah, there are also different systems. Some are connected with specific tones, and others are not connected to specific tones. So it doesn't matter.
It's just also just the words, I think. I know that,
yes,
like this Ram, Lam.
Yes,
is, no?
Exactly. Yes, these are exactly the bija mantras for the elements, for example. Yes, and they are really seen as the vibration of the essence of that element. Yeah, can go beyond that. We can also just sound into our shoulder or into another body part. Just getting present with our body, and we can just feel, okay, there is a body part that is calling for a sound, and just sounding into it. Yeah.
So then it's also maybe possible to, if you say any type of the body part, maybe even if you have a pain in some specific part of the body, you can also use the tone for that part, no?
Absolutely. So again, there's one thing that we can do with pain, is kind of releasing out, kind of bringing sounds out, and that can be maybe even crazy sounds, or whatever, can be like even something like that, or just releasing, just feeling. I actually after this summer, after all the lockdowns, in the summer, walking in the the woods and all that life of the summer woods, I really started to do that in the woods, because I felt all this pressure and all this heaviness, even though I had quite a good conditions during the lockdowns, but still also the collective thing. So I really started to just sound out, and sound it all out. So we can do that with pain. I would advise to be a little bit careful when you feel like you're sucked into the pain, you know, you're kind of sucked in. Maybe the pain is connected to something very painful, even traumatic. So I would be careful with that, and I would not advise to do that on your own. I mean, of course, everybody can decide for themselves, but I still want to give a little warning here, because it might not be healing, you know, just to go being sucked in and then being in the full-blown story of the pain. So that's why I'm saying to be careful with that. So we can like release out like that, but then also we can call in, or we can open. As I said, with the vibroacoustic quality, it can be incredibly strong. Like especially, for example, back pains. It can be, I hear also from other people's over and over again, it can be so surprising, because you wouldn't think, if you would think like you need someone like working on your back because it's so painful and so closed up. But actually, just gentle sounds. Again, searching for the sound that really resonates. Ooh, maybe in the lower back, it's a lower sound. Ooh. It can be so opening and so releasing. And again, emotions can come, and things that we are holding there can come through that. What is here? What is a little point we can pay attention to is that sometimes when we are in pain, we are like so in pain that here comes the aspect of intention, that we start to almost like project that pain state into the pain, and that sometimes it can really also lead to a stronger constriction, especially with headache, for example. So it's really important here to bring intention in, and to, for example, have an internal image of what the outcome should be. And that internal image could be, you know, a relaxed back, if you have an image for that, but it also could be just an open sky, or, you know, sunset on the beach, some image that is really healing for you, that really like is the image of this pain is loosening and I'm becoming free from it. And so we can use this image to and sound it into the painful part.
It's a very strong tool, actually.
Yes. And it's for free.
And it's
everybody has it. Everybody has it all the time with them. I like the breath also.
Do you have any special memories of or experiences of sound or voice healing that you would like to share?
Yeah, a very strong experiences with sound where I really, for the first time, I was really like blown away, was when I was invited to a group in Vienna that was doing sound sound research, but with vocal sound, and it was around a group around the philosopher Roland Stasny, who was he was gathering people to do his research with the vocal sound. And he had developed this, or I don't know if he had developed, but he was working and experimenting with what he would call object toning. So we would connect to objects with sounds, and for example, for healing, but also for visionary work. And so I had very intense experiences, really, of like everything vibrating, and also this communication with objects that, of course, then sometimes we might think, okay, is it like a tool that I'm using to actually communicate with a deeper level of myself, or like a collective aspect of consciousness? Yeah, but in these sessions, and this was, I think, 2006, 2007, I was very involved in that. So there really I realized I cannot even, at that time I felt like I cannot even grasp it, but this is immense. And so I'm also using object toning in a lot of my workshops, because I really, it can be almost like, it can be used almost like tarot reading, for example.
Yeah, because I try to
you
now
have a question
understand how does it work, the object then tuning.
Well, for example, you can, very simple is you take an object that is pure, strength for you, pure strength, and like a strength object, no ambiguity about it. And for example, if you have a question, you place it in front of you and you can connect visually, and then you connect through sound. And I know, for me also, the first time, like, what, you connect through sound? It's just, you connect through sound. And I know from my workshops, I've done it with hundreds of people, and people say, oh, how? And I say, let's just try it out, and afterwards people are like, whoa, it worked, So it works. And it's also part of intention, of course, intention to connect to that object, and the connection, and then you sound. And then when you really feel the connection, for example, maybe the answer already comes. It comes quicker and faster than you can think, or you can really like sound your question, for example. What's the next step? What's the next step? I don't know the next step. I don't know where to go.
True. It's like a tarot cards, you say, then you get the answer.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's in a way then it's like kind of telepathic communication with the object.
Yeah, I don't know about telepathy, other than I very often know things before, but yeah, probably that's called telepathy. I don't know.
How do you think how humans, how well do they understand this instrument or this tool, like a voice, and nowadays?
I think there are many humans who understand very well, but they're not maybe the most prominent and well-heard humans. But I think there are many humans who know that tool very, very, very well. And it's coming to the forefront. It's coming more and more. There is a lot of research being done, and there are researchers that like John Stuart Reid, I think you say his last name. He's really one of the pioneers. He's the inventor of the CymaScope, that is a device for imaging sound waves. And maybe people are familiar with these images that look like mandalas, but are actually sound on water. In the most cases, I think it's distilled water. It's not on water, like sound through the distilled water, I think would be the more correct way to phrase it. And he, for example, is working on a tool that where you use sound, because healthy cells and unhealthy cells, like cancer cells, have a different, they look different through sound. So I don't know the total details of that, but he's working on a tool with which how you say, a chirurg, like someone who operates people, a medical doctor, who is
the surgeon.
Yeah, exactly, the surgeon, where the surgeon can precisely see where the malignant, the tumor cell, the cancer cells end, and the healthy cells start, which apparently in some operations is really not easy to distinguish, and can also lead to I don't know, harm or leaving in some of the cancer cells and so on. So this is a sound device that really changes the possibility of dividing, and that's not like some far out edge research as far as I understand, but it's coming strongly into the medical community. So I think this is quite, and it's not an idea for the future. I think it's quite developed, this technique. And for example, the same researcher, John Stuart Reid, I think Reid, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name actually. He also did research with a medical doctor on sound, the effect of sound on blood samples, to kind of see what effect the sound had on the vitality of the blood samples. And they found that especially strong bass frequencies had a very positive effect on the blood samples.
Wow.
And what strikes is the similarity to the shamanic drum, and also I mean, I'm definitely sure that there are some aspects of hip hop or even techno music that are deeply healing, and that's why kids are. So I was very attracted to techno music and to dancing for hours to those
Me too.
beats.
Yeah.
And I think really there is also this aspect that it is healing. There is a healing aspect to the lot of movement, but also to the beats. Anyways, they concluded that it could, like in this interview that I heard with him, he was saying that he could imagine that maybe in 10 years' time, on the intensive care beds, some devices that create these bass frequencies could be like a standard thing, because it's clear that they enhance healing and they enhance vitality. And so, for example,
what a good idea.
So these are things that are really moving into the medical, into the medical field. So
hopefully we still will see this happening, because it's amazing. Exactly, if it's affecting the blood cells, it would be a completely game changer in the medicine and evolution of the medicine.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of people who know about the power of sound, who know about the power of vocal sound. A lot of spiritual practitioners who really know about the power of vocal sound. But many people probably are not aware. That's also true.
Therefore, for a person to heal, they must be actively involved in the process. How can someone do this by using the voice as a tool?
I mean, there is also in vocal sound healing, there is the possibility for so-called passive sound healing. Well, or we can say sound therapy, because sound healing always has this connotation of, this aspiration, maybe, or not aspiration. How you say this? I'm looking for the word. That can get even in the way of healing. Like not letting it's just like too much, healing, or we make it happen, or like applying too much of that. I'm gonna make it happen, or I'm gonna let it happen, and so on. But anyway, there can be the passive aspect of simply receiving vocal sounds, vocal tonings, also receiving mantra. So that's also a thing that has been practiced for thousands and thousands of years on this planet. And then, of course, there's the active form. And as I said, I think really it's really underestimated what a healing aspect it has to open the voice. And then, of course, simply singing, simply putting on your favorite music and singing to it can be incredibly healing. And it also shows healing effect. So listening to your favorite music also shows to have very healing effects. It's clear that you have more dopamine in your blood after that,
True.
or in your saliva. I'm not sure where the measurements were made, but anyway, you have more dopamine, you feel better, and so on. The mood is better. But of course, when you use our own voice, all these things are enhanced. So using our own voice, singing alone, singing with others, there is a little difference when we sing alone and we sing with others, but there is a lot of health benefits that come from using our voice, which go to, of course, we have what I already mentioned. We develop dopamine. Maybe sometimes it's not clear, is the dopamine developed because we feel good, or do we feel good because the dopamine anyway, we can measure and that's another point here that we're touching, that I'm kind of passionate about, is to also reclaim our subjectivity. It's like, we don't need a blood sample to understand if we feel good or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If people feel good, that should be good enough in a way. It's like, yeah. But anyways, there has been a lot of research, and there still is going on a lot of research, because of course there's also, I'm not saying only subjectivity, of course, research also gives us some broader picture. And so when we tone with the voice, for example, in all our cells, other things, other chemicals are created, like, for example, nitric oxide, which has also been, again, more in the media during the COVID times, because it's also an antiviral, and it's created mainly in our nasal cavities. So, for example, humming in our nasal cavities increases nitric oxide a lot, and it has been shown to really reduce sinusitis. Even chronic sinusitis could be healed by simply humming 15 to 20 minutes into your sinuses every day. Yes, absolutely. So this is like full research with big samples and control groups and so on. But also nitric oxide is built in other parts of our body. And then, of course, we inhale it, and it goes to the lungs, where it's very beneficial and also spreads to our body. And melatonin rises when we sing. So that melatonin is also important for our immunity. But it's also important, it's very known for sleeping, for relaxing and for having a good relaxed sleep. Melatonin is very important. And then what else? When we sing together, of course, also oxytocin is released, which is this strong bonding chemical. I'm a little bit reluctant to say, okay, we feel bonded because there is a chemical. I don't think it's. I think the chemical is also there. Okay, but yeah, and that's for good and for bad. That's also what, I don't know, hooligans, why they feel bonded. When they sing together, hooligans like a song. Yeah. So, or that's why probably also when you go to war, it can be very archaic, songs. So there is an incredibly strong power in singing together and having a common rhythm also.
That's true. That's true. Well, you do remind me with this sports thing. I remember when was like, I don't know, was it that of football, some championship, or was that I don't remember, when the Icelandic team were like having like a ritual that before every game they were all standing and they were all singing this Viking, like, and was amazing. It's like, even just from listening, you get in this mood. So of course, this elevates kind of being united. It elevates the power.
Absolutely. And I think it's really something that we're missing, is opportunities to sing together and also dance together, of course, and also move in the same rhythm, but also sing together. And I mean, just coming back to your question from before, so these are a few of the health benefits, and there are more health benefits to singing, and everybody can access that by simply putting on music and singing along, you know. Yeah, and of course also searching for other possibilities, right? I think everywhere, you know, you can find like open mantra chanting evenings or things like that.
Yeah.
So if people feel attracted to that, probably they'll find something, not only in their vicinity, if they live somewhere where there's not, probably even online now, not even, for sure online, you will find also. So there's a lot of possibilities to connect to soundings. And to because it can be helpful to make sounds in a group, can be helpful, but already singing along to a song can be also helpful. So that's one aspect, of course, and how people can really participate into sound healing. And then the other point is, I really like to encourage everybody to start to take the time and space to investigate, to just be curious, you know, exactly, to feel into yourself and just start to sound however it comes out, and without focusing too much on how it sounds, focusing more on how it feels in the body and how it makes you feel, and also being kind of using that as a compass to navigate the sound. How does it feel? How does it develop? And trying to put the ear more to the background, or the judgmental ear more to the background. And then the other thing that we were just touching about is that this, I mean, I think this happened really in the last decades, even stronger, with all the recordings available all the time, everywhere.
Yeah.
That people don't sing. It's not normal anymore. I don't know, at birthday parties, we sing maybe a song for the birthday, 1 minute or so,
Yeah.
but we don't go on to sing songs together just to enhance our mood. We put on recorded music to enhance our mood, or to make it, to change to be with music. So that's also something that we've really lost, this kind of opportunities to sing and make music together. And there's exactly also stronger this divide between, music is something that performers do, you know. Singing is something that happens on a stage, and the others watch and are silent. It's not something that we all do, and that is a normal aspect of our life, and that we enjoy together, and that we look forward to. Oh, at this next family reunion, I'm looking forward to the singing together.
It's true, because our grandparents or grandparents were actually doing that. They were sitting, if it's the celebration, family celebration, everyone was singing and sitting and singing, and having a wine or the drinks and singing, and like so many. That's why is the whole we have the whole ethnographical part from different cultures coming, is from that, from togetherness. And
Yeah.
And as you say, now it's true, is disappearing more and more. That you were mentioning also, that is important, this in a group together, and the singing and the dancing. In the last episode, we talked about Tibetan Buddhism and Yantra Yoga. I know you are also a teacher of Vajra dance, which is also has something to do with the dancing together, and which is also closely related to a topic we are talking about. So many people don't know about the Vajra dance. Could you tell us something about its origin and function, and how can we benefit from that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the Vajra dance comes from a great Tibetan master, Dzogchen master, Chögyal Namkhai Norbu. He brought it to this plane, and it's Vajra means our true nature. So it's a dance in which we can discover or connect to our true nature. And it's basically also a meditation in movement. So there is a specific mandala on which we dance, and we sing specific mantras. We have specific movements. So we do that in a group. And this has a deeply harmonizing effect on our body, our energy, our mind. And so it's also a very strong tool for entering deeper into practice, for entering deeper into the connection to meditation practice, for example. But it's also in itself a meditation practice. So it is, as a practice, a way. And the main point here is, I said it's a meditation in movement, because movement is a very important part of our life. So by that is, we don't mean only physical movement is important, but we have always the movement of our thoughts, the movement of our emotions. I mean, from yesterday, with starting the crisis or the war in Ukraine, we can experience, but I mean, we all experience also without a war strong enough, and especially last 2 years with COVID, we can have these strong movements inside ourselves, and where it's difficult to find the center point. So that's why we can also have meditation in movement. For example, we also have walking meditations to connect the meditation, the stillness, the centeredness of the meditation with the state of movement. Because sometimes we can experience like that. There is so much movement, and meditation, we need to get away from that movement, and we need to go on the meditation cushion, and then we have the feeling like, here I cannot meditate, or today I cannot meditate because I'm so excited, or someone else is bothering me with their movement and noises or so on, so I cannot meditate. So it becomes like two things. Like, we have the normal life, and then it's kind of, we need to get away to meditate, or we need to kind of, meditation is something that we lose in normal life. So meditation in movement, and especially the Vajra dance, it's really about becoming skillful in bringing the state of meditation into the movement. So we don't have to stop the movement. We still have the emotions. We still have the intense feelings or thoughts maybe, but we don't lose our center. We're not carried away or thrown around by them. We are still in our center, and we experience all that movement stable in our center.
And how many people are normally in a group when you do the Vajra dance?
There are different kinds of dances, but in the most common dances, we have 12 people on one mandala. So usually 6 female, 6 male. And but if the space allows, we can have more than one mandala. So then there can be bigger groups also dancing.
And people are moving with closed eyes?
No, open eyes.
Okay.
Because that's also, we have all our senses open. That's also part of integrating the meditation into movement, is we have our senses open. So we don't need to close off from the sense, from the sense objects, from the incoming or perceived incoming things through the senses. But exactly, we are present with all that comes in through the ears, through the eyes, through everything.
And what could be your essential tips on how to center yourself and navigate these stressful times?
My essential tips would be what I come back to lately a lot, which is resting, taking breaks during the day. I like to really, I know maybe not everybody has the possibility. I work a lot at home, and especially in the first times of COVID, I had like 9-hour work days and 7 days a week, or 6 at least. Anyway, I'm just saying that because I'm afraid to sound like, you know, somebody who's super privileged and can lie down during the day. And I just want to say, no, I also really have to carve out, and I have to be very
Force yourself,
clear
no?
to do that. Yeah, force myself in a way, or to be very, to say, no, this is important. And so I'm really lying down, or taking really breaks, like just sitting and watching, feeling the body. I like to say feeling the butt in the chair, just feeling, arriving, breathing, you know, more than once a day, opening my breath, connecting to my breath. And then what I like to do lately a lot is just quick sounding into the heart, because I feel like my heart is like, you know, when I do these moments of presence, I feel like, oh, my heart is a little bit, so just sounding a little bit into the heart. Yeah. And just taking time, and when we connect to these moments, then they can be very short. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or sometimes even 20 minutes. But that's what I've kind of come back to and developed in the last month, additionally to, you know, the meditation practices that I'm used to do every day. But I find that these very basic things are very important for me.
This is, it's good that you mentioned that it actually is enough to do it even for just for a couple of minutes or for 5 minutes. And in our busy times, I think it's actually very important to dedicate at least these minutes for our rest. And
yes,
most of us, we can really afford that.
Yes, yeah. It's also, my experience is also that the online working, it has this trap of that you go to the second and then you switch on the on that second, you know, more or less, instead of saying, okay, no, it's 10 to the full hour or whatever, where my next appointment or my next meeting or something is, and so I'm stopping now and I'm taking a break, really.
Well, in one of the episodes, I was speaking with about work and life balance, and with one professional who is working in a big music industry, and that's what she mentioned as well. I'm scheduling even my rest, my minutes to rest, just all day on the computer, but then at some point I have a reminder telling me, okay, just step aside, have a deep breath in, breathe out, a bit rest, and then come back. So we can manage, all of us. It's not, in the end, it's not even the privileged things, because of this few minutes we all can make it.
Yes, I was just saying, you know, if you sit in a big you know, in a big bureau somewhere with 10 other people, you might not be able to lie down. You might have to find other ways to kind of do your relaxing or your centering. So that's what I was thinking about. Or if you know, if you're out somewhere, it can be difficult to, or not difficult, just other ways are needed, you know, to really find ways to center and reconnect. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely gonna use the heart toning meditation I was trying with you today. I think this is something what you can use every day or whatever you are, because if it's just inside toning, you don't even have to make the sound.
No, it's even like as a very subtle hum you can do in the subway. No one will hear, especially now. We still have the FFP2 masks. Is for that, it's really good. You can really, like, I do it in the subway, like very subtle hums, and in the train as well, for example. I mean, I'm not sure. Sometimes I think, I'm not sure if the person sitting beside me actually hears it, but it's more like, you know, like, just act normal here. I don't know, but anyway.
And I would like to go now for the last three closing questions, which I'm always asking to my guests. So, how does your morning routine look like?
My morning routine looks like getting up, tongue scraper, brushing my teeth, boiling water, and then sitting down for meditation.
How long do you
Yeah.
do your meditation in the mornings?
It depends a little bit also on my mood. Like I try not to force anything, but between 40 minutes and 60, 70 minutes.
Wow.
But I mean, I don't do like silent sitting for that period of time. I do mantra practice and mantra meditation.
You mentioned today many important books that made you click and made you be interested in becoming who you are now. But is there any important book that really helped you to improve during the years and that you would like to recommend also to other people?
You know, I thought about this question and I noticed that lately I've been thinking about a book. I think it's called Women Who Run with the Wolves by
You're the
Clarissa
third
Pinkola
person.
Estes.
You're the third person in this podcast
And
mentioning this book.
it's so, it's really because I don't have it anymore and I never read it a second time and I never looked back into it. But
Yes.
I realized that I'm thinking about it because I think there are some things in there that really stayed with me. For example, you know, when you feel stuck, just cry as much as you need.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
Or that like really for another thing for me is like really baking and cooking can be an act of really inner alchemical transformation. Like not approaching everyday cooking, like I don't mean approaching everyday cooking, but there are certain states where, you know, cooking, baking, it can really bring about some transformation. And these are things that I have from there and that I do. So I think it's yeah.
It's amazing. It must be a really powerful book because you're the third person who say this. So I
It
really,
must be.
right after our speak, I will order this book because it must be the best. And what are you currently most passionate about?
Currently, I'm working a lot with Sanskrit alphabet. Really looking and learning. I'm reading a great book about that by I think David Frawley. I think is the author, and he's also Anyway, I'm really passionate about that, about this idea, or not this idea, about this sound architecture of the Sanskrit alphabet, which we also use in the Tibetan traditions. We recite. There are different versions of the Sanskrit alphabet. There's not like the one version, and also in the Tibetan tradition there are used different versions, and we also use it in our lineage. It's used to, after the mantra practice, you recite it to kind of clear some imbalances that might have created during the mantra practice. So it's said to have this very strong clearing and harmonizing effect, especially on the throat chakra, but on the whole subtle body. So and then each sound of the Sanskrit alphabet is said to have a more specific specific resonance in a way, you know, like specific meaning, specific aspect, specific resonant area in the body, and so on. So I'm really interested in that, and I'm really like the sound r in the moment. I'm experimenting a lot with r. and of course it's also so-called cerebral sound, so it goes to the chakras up here, or yeah.
True, because
also,
then through that sound you're vibrating the head, no? Everything
yeah,
vibrates.
yeah, yeah. And it's also a way, I mean, not the r sound, but more the r, this kind of American r sound is also a way for bringing out overtones. So yeah, this is what I'm currently experimenting with the Sanskrit alphabet and the vowels of the Sanskrit alphabet and the r.
I'm reading at the moment the book of the sutras, and also they are all in Sanskrit language, and the whole introduction is first to understand the Sanskrit language and alphabet. I was very also interested in like seeing how it's actually there is a difference of between ours and theirs, and how many also ways of speaking. So I'm also trying to when I read the interpretation in English, I also try to read always the original just for my own curiosity, but it's very difficult as well, no?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't even read it in, like Devanagari or anything. I just read it transliterated into Western script.
And the last thing, tell to everyone where they can find you, how they can find you, if case they want to learn the voice toning meditations or the Vajra dance or anything else. And please.
Oh yeah, so for the Vajra dance, there is a website which is vajradance.org. Oh, I should check. Let me check. But
I will put it also in the description
yes,
afterwards.
so it's
everything.
vajradance.org. I'm pretty sure maybe vajradance.net, but I think it's vajradance.org. And there you will find all the Vajra dance instructors worldwide, and you can find someone in your vicinity or a center in your vicinity. But also probably if you Google Vajra dance, you can find someone close to you or a place close to you. And the other things are found through my website, elishakoppensteiner.com. And I also teach in English, especially one-on-one sessions. For now, all my online courses are in German. And so, yeah, so that's a limitation, the German language right now. But one-on-one, I have students, clients in English. So yeah, that works well. And of course, and if someone wanted to organize a workshop, that's also very possible, online or on site, yeah, in English as well. And then there is my YouTube channel, Im Einklang, where you can find sound baths, but also guided meditations, sound meditations. And they're also in German right now, the guided meditations. I've been thinking of switching to English for a few years now.
Oh, please. I would be the one listening all the time.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's time to switch to English. Yeah, maybe it is. And yeah, and then there is my Instagram, but I'm not very active on Instagram. I'm just posting every now and then. Yeah.
Elisha, thank you so much for being in this podcast, for taking part in this conversation. It's been such a pleasure for me.
Thank you, Yogile. Really, it's been really a very beautiful conversation, and I really like the energy that you bring. I really enjoy it very much. Thank you.
And I wish you all the best in your all of the future projects and all of the present projects. And I really hope we're gonna speak anytime in the future about digging more about maybe the sound and maybe about the different types of the meditations.
Oh yeah, I would love to, and thank you for your wishes, and I would love to hear your sounds and your music. So I'm looking forward to that, when we can hear more from that. Yeah.
Thank you so much to everyone who also watched this video with me and Elisha. I hope you enjoyed the heart toning short meditation this way, the same way as I did. And hope from now on, I'll keep on doing now regularly back to my regularly monthly podcasts. And yes, if you like the video, just push the thumbs up and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.